Well, welcome everyone to our webinar today titled Radarsign, Robust Data Collection Using Cloud Connectivity. Now, most people attending today are all in the traffic industry, so I'm sure you're very familiar with these signs and how they work. But what we want to talk about today is something people don't seem to associate very often with these, and that's data. People think of these devices as a safety tool, and that's about it. But there's so much valuable data being collected by them, and it's a shame that it's almost never used. Now, there's several reasons why that is, but the biggest one we hear is that it's hard to get and it's hard to manage. That's why the cloud is such a powerful tool. It does all the work for you. All you need to do is log in and the data is just there. And I'll show you what that looks like a little bit later. So thanks again for joining us, and let's get started. So today there's two of us bringing this webinar to you. My name is Brian Barg, and I'm the Ontario Account Manager for Stinson ITS.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mike Mondor, and I am the Technical Account Manager for Stinson ITS covering Quebec and the Maritimes. Here is a quick overview of today's agenda: why reducing speed matters, radar effectiveness and statistics, applications and options, connectivity and street smart software, Radarsign Cloud, and demo. As we go along, if you have any questions, please feel free to enter them in the question tab on the sidebar of the webinar window. We will also be doing a quiz where someone will win cool prizes.
Now here's an interesting piece of history. This is an image of the world's first police radar unit back in 1947 in the state of Connecticut. The top right image is the radar transceiver, and the meter below is an analog reader, which you had to keep watching to see the highest speed recorded. I find it fascinating to think that there was a need for speed enforcement even back then.
So why does speed matter? Here is a sobering fact. Reducing speed by just a few kilometers per hour greatly increases a person's chance of living if they are struck by a car. As speed increases, so do fatalities. For example, take a road that has a speed limit of 50 kilometers per hour. If a pedestrian is struck by a car at that speed, they have an 85% chance of dying or having a life-altering serious injury. On average, drivers make 8 journeys on familiar routes each week, and while traveling on these familiar routes, 46% of drivers say they are the most likely to have no recollection of how they got to their destination. Converting a driver's brain activity from autopilot state to an engaged state requires a trigger. Strategically placed radar speed feedback signs can serve as triggers. In a more recent study funded by PEMA Department of Transportation, it had the same conclusion on the effectiveness of radar speed feedback signs, but this study also showed the benefit in dollar value per year associated with a reduction in severe crashes. The money saved could be used for other traffic safety products. If you're interested in the resources to these studies, please feel free to reach out to us and we can supply them to you. Radarsign has 3 models to choose from: the TC400, the TC600, and the TC1000. The TC400 is Radarsign's portable unit, which can be used in multiple locations, making it a valuable investment. This sign is ideal for traffic speeds up to 80 kilometers per hour. It can also be mounted to a truck hitch or the mobile patrol stand, which you'll see on the next slide. For those wanting to permanently mount this unit, they offer an AC version that was launched at the beginning of this year. The TC600 is a full matrix radar speed sign with multiple display options and is available in AC and solar power models. The speed and message displays are easily readable up to 600 feet away and is ideal for traffic speeds up to 100 kilometers per hour. The standard alerts, slow down, and too fast come with the sign. However, optional alerts can be added. The sign on the bottom has the hyper alert faceplate, which we will discuss in the next slide as well. The TC1000 is Radarsign's largest speed sign, which is available in both AC and solar power models. The TC1000 speed display is easily readable up to 1,000 feet away and is ideal for arterial roads and highways. For those thinking about installing these in a school zone, Radarsign has you covered. The system on the left includes flashing beacons, which can be vertically or horizontally mounted. The signage can be customized to your provincial regulations. The system on the right uses hyper alerts, which are compact clusters of LED lights built right into the Eurospeed faceplate of the TC600 model, delivering a significantly more compact solution than traditional beacons at a lower cost. A radar sign mounted on a mobile patrol stand is ideal for locations where traffic calming is needed on a temporary or rotating basis. The radar speed trailer hitch provides a traffic calming solution where you need it and when you need it. The radar on the go hitch is purpose built for the TC400 and is ideal in areas like construction zones.
So what we're going to do is our very first poll question here. So hopefully this works, and we'll just have Sam put the question up. So there it is. The question for those attending that own driver feedback signs, the question is what is the biggest issue you've had with your sign? So just choose A, B, C, or D. So A is vandalism, B is poor quality build of the sign, C is dead batteries or solar panels that wouldn't keep the batteries charged, and then D is connecting to the unit or reporting. So we'll just let people, and we can see people are actually answering this, which is pretty cool because, like I say, this is our first time trying this. So we'll just wait a couple more seconds here as people are actually, you can see the numbers changing here. I'd say give it about another 10 seconds. It's funny, every time I look at it, the numbers are changing, but I think that's pretty good if you want to post the answers. All right, so it looks like 36% of them was dead batteries or solar panels wouldn't keep them charged, and then coming, oh, sorry, the first one was, my apologies, the connecting to the unit and reporting. Then was the dead batteries, vandalism, and then last was the poor quality build of the sign. So thank you, everybody, for putting in that answer.
With Radarsign, you're not required to choose between setting the unit up for high visibility versus battery life, which is a choice with some other manufacturers. Remember, a driver cannot react to what they do not see. Some signs are being made of plastic now, which makes them prone to vandalism. The picture shows a 40 caliber bullet fired from a point blank range, which didn't penetrate the bash plate, preventing internal damage to the sign. Radarsign is Wi-Fi enabled, which is better than Bluetooth technology in a few ways. It's faster, has better range, and can do over-the-air updates. To connect locally with the sign, you simply access its local web page to program the sign and collect data. The Radarsign unit also comes with a possum switch, which makes the sign appear as if it's dead for 30 minutes if it has been hit.
All right, so StreetSmart is Radarsign's traffic reporting software, which allows you to report, organize, and analyze the traffic data collected from your radar speed signs. StreetSmart can generate 35 graphs and charts with just a few mouse clicks. And one of the benefits is the ability to run in stealth mode. That is where the sign appears to be turned off, but still collects data. If you let that run for a period of time and then turn the display back on, you can see for yourself how the speeds are reduced. Now, this is a great tool to justify spending and show its effectiveness. This also can be used to show local residents that speeding on their street is not as nearly bad as they believe. Now, the Radarsign Cloud is a secure remote management system utilizing cellular modems. It provides the central management of the devices within your network, anytime, anywhere, including sign operation settings, alerts, data access, and data collection from any internet connected device. And I'll show you a quick overview here, and then we can jump into the platform. Here is an image using Radarsign Cloud, and as you can see from this screen alone, you're provided with a lot of information. The GPS location of the sign, the total vehicles and total speeders for the past 30 days, the battery voltage and solar charging history of the past 30 days, and the connection to the cloud per day for the past 30 days. And the sign reaches out to the cloud every 15 minutes. Here is another screenshot showing how familiar it is. The first blue box on the top jumps directly into the charts, graphs, tables for speed data. And the second blue box jumps directly into Scheduler, where you can program the sign. And from there, I'm going to jump into the actual cloud. So what you're seeing here is the overview of the system for the city of Guelph. Now, a little bit of a backstory here. The city of Guelph is going to be installing 30 driver feedback signs. And we started doing this, and we're doing the supply and install for them, basically started at the end of March. So right now there's about 10, I believe, units that are installed, and this is a combination of TC600s and TC1000s. So right off the top, when you look at this, you'll see the kind of menu along the sidebar here, but then there is just a number of graphs. So on the top is these active locations. And what you're seeing is each location that has this gray and red bar graph. And you'll notice on the right-hand side, it's vehicles and violators. So in this one area here on the top left, you'll see that on the top, you'll see the kind of gray bar, which is, in this case here, there's 383. And then to the right of it, there was only 87 people that were speeding through here. So in this location, speed isn't really an issue. But if you go to the one to the right of it on McLaughlin Place, you're going to notice that there is definitely a speeding issue here where the red graph is almost as high as the gray graph. So like 2,400 vehicles went through and 2,090 were actually going through the sign as a speeding. So this would be one area that you would want to be paying attention to. And down below, this is another graph where it talks about the percentage of speeders and their average speed versus their peak speed, and then the 50th and 80th fifth percentile. So just to know, when you drive through this driver feedback sign, it's going to record your speed a number of times as you go past it. So let's pretend it grabs your information 10 times. It's going to average out what your speed was, which is going to be used in some graphs, but then also it's going to record what was the fastest speed that you went through at that time. So this graph kind of represents what those are. And then on the bottom, this is a cumulative vehicle statistic for all of the active devices. So we can see we started installing these back at the end of March, and we kind of ramped them up. But so really what you're seeing here on the top is the total amount of vehicles that went through per day, and then the total violators that went through again on the same day. Now, if I scroll down to the map button, which is just below the overview, it's going to pull up the map of where all the vehicles, where all the units are displayed. And in this case, again, this is the city of Guelph. So right now we're seeing these green tabs, and they're green because they are connected. If it was red, you would see an alert, but also it would show up on the map. So if I were to click on one of these, I'm going to see that this is on Metcalf, and I'm going to see again that screenshot that we saw at the beginning, which is, per day for the last week, what the vehicle totals were, as well as the violators. Now, if I click on this top button here, which goes to the charts, it's also the same tab, which is here on the charts there. So if I click on it, what I'm going to see is a few different things. So again, this is what we're talking about, getting that data right at your fingertips. So this is our date range of the past week. And again, I can customize this to be a month, a few days, however I want to see that. But in this case, it's for the past week, and it's for the full day. I can choose it to be every 30 minutes, which gets quite granular, or every 60 minutes, but we'll go back to the full day. So this just shows me, again, vehicles and violators versus violators. The next one is the speeders versus non-speeders. This graph here is the percentage of speeders. And then the bottom one is the average and peak speeders of this area. Now, any one of these graphs that you see, you can easily just click on save as a PDF and save this. So there's not a lot of digging to go through the sign. You just basically have it there at your fingertips. If I click on the speed bin, which is in the middle, again, I can select what date range I want, but then I get other graphs like the average and peak vehicles by percentage, the average peak vehicle counts, the average speed versus 85th percentile, daily speed summary, and daily speed summary in percentages. There is an alerts tab here, so if you were to have an alert, it would come up here. What we're seeing here are basically alerts that are saying that the sign failed to connect to the cloud within the last 72 hours, and this is simply because they were shipped from the factory and they haven't been installed yet. If you click on the devices tab, this shows again all of the units that are out in the that are within the city. Ones that don't have an address, again, are just simply not installed. But if I were to click on one that does, this again is that screenshot that we showed you in the deck, what it is live. So you'll see the serial number of the vehicle, of the unit, what the model is, and where it is. On the right-hand side, again, that 30-day violator report. This is the telemetry for your battery and solar panel charging, and on the bottom is the connectivity to the cloud. I can easily see where the location of this sign is. Again, there's a GPS in every sign, so if you get the unit stolen, you can alert the police where it would be. The connections tab simply just shows when the last time the sign was connected to the cloud. And then you have the data tab. So this basically is a numerical tab of the vehicle's violators, the average speed, the peak speed, and then the percentages. But if you wanted to see this as a graph, you would just click on the graph tab and that would show it to you there. Again, you can change whatever date range you want. This is for the past week, but you could just select certain days or the month or months. And there's a simple 30 and 7-day tab here. Again, I can export this to a CSV file as well. And then the telemetry, again, this is for the voltage of the battery as well as the solar panel. Again, and there's a tab here where I can click on the graph and it shows me what that looks like. So again, the green is just the solar panels charging each day, and the orange is the battery life, or sorry, the battery voltage. So that's just the charts there, and on the bottom is the configuration, and this is simply how you would program your sign or group of signs. So you would either create a new one, or in this case, I've created one for this webinar. And simply all you do is you would select whether or not this is a static sign or if it's in a school zone where you need to program it for certain times of day. These are the devices that I've selected, but you have the pool of all the devices that are available, and you would just add them to that devices that are selected. And then you would simply configure it by clicking the configuration tab. This is where you can enable the radar, you set the speed limit, you turn on the visual blue flash, which they call the blinky, and then the possum there. This is where you would install on the right-hand side the minimum and maximum speed that you wanted the unit to actually display the speeds. You can shut the unit off at a certain speed threshold, and this doesn't promote then speeding through your street, drivers would use this as a kind of a speed gun to see how fast they can go. You can cut that speed off at a certain speed. And then there's also 2 alerts that you can choose from at different speeds. You can have it flash fast, or this is where you would see the vehicle's too fast display, or the slow down. Once you've done, you would just simply click save, and that would save that. And the next time those units connected to the cloud, it would program it. All right, so we're going to ask a quiz now, and basically what's going to happen is we're going to ask the question. You're going to see it there in a second, and what we want you to do is go to the questions tab and put your answer in. And it's going to be A, B, C, or D. And the first person that answers the correct answer, Samantha, who is on the line here, will announce the winner. So the question is, what radar sign model is suitable for readability from 600 feet? And here's your choices: the TC400, the TC600, the TC1000, or the TC1200. So again, we want you to put your questions into the questions tab, sort of the answer into the questions tab, and Sam will announce the winner once somebody answers the correct answer.
We already have a winner. Sherry is the winner, and we will contact you after the webinar to get your shipping details.
All right, congratulations, Sherry. And you don't even know what you're playing for yet, but this is it. You're going to get a Stinson ITS mug, a Stinson ITS booklet, as well as a pen. So again, congratulations there. So what we want to do now is actually just talk about a trial program very quickly. So often public safety committees or charitable nonprofits concerned with road safety issues and protecting vulnerable road users operate with little to no budget for purchasing new products. So we'd like to give these organizations a chance to try out a radar feedback sign from Radarsign, which is proven to reduce speeding and increase safety. So Stinson ITS would like to announce our first trial program where we'll send these types of Canadian organizations a solar-powered radar sign to test out from anywhere from 90 to say 180 days. This is a no pressure, no commitment, no cost trial where we hope these organizations will be able to experience the benefits of one of these systems that they might otherwise not have access to. So if you or somebody you know would like to, that you think would be a good fit, please feel free to reach out to us. So the next webinar that's coming up is going to be in a month from now on June the 2nd. And feel free to join us at 1 o'clock. And this will be hosted by Michael McGuire, who is Stinson ITS's Vice President. So Bosch is, so the title is Bosch Analytics at the Edge, a Step Ahead. And Bosch is leading the way by offering cameras with some of the most powerful edge processors on the market. Video analytics processing is moving from the server to onboard the camera and is enabling a ton of new and interesting ITS applications. So join us next month for our next webinar where we'll be able to show you what these new camera analytics can do, as well as some examples of solutions that we've deployed. So at this time, we'd like to open up our webinar to any questions that you might have. Again, you're probably familiar with the questions tab there. So if you do have questions, please feel free to ask them there, and Sam can ask them, and Mike and I will do our best to answer them.
So we have a few. Someone asked, is there a stealth mode?
So definitely. There is a stealth mode where you can basically turn that on and off, and that's what we were discussing in the one slide there. So you can program the unit in stealth mode, let it run for a week or two. So the sign's out there, but it's not displaying any speeds, but it's collecting data. And then you can run a report on what those speeds were. And then you can turn this display on, run it for, again, a couple of weeks, and then you can do a comparison between what the actual speed was when the unit wasn't working, or not working, but displaying, to when the unit was displaying.
Someone also asked what the correct answer was. The correct answer was B, the TC600. We should have said that.
I totally forgot that. Yes, yeah, we announced the winner, but we didn't announce what the actual correct answer was. So you always, at the beginning of these things, always know, where am I going to screw up? And there it is. So yes, the correct answer was the TC600, which is readable from 600 feet.
Someone asked if we're going to share the presentation. Yes, we are going to send the presentation along with a recording of the webinar to everyone who registered tomorrow. Can you please address effectiveness for multi-lane applications?
So I don't have the metric in terms of exactly how many lanes the TC600 or 1000 will do. I've seen it on Multilane applications being used, and it's kind of the next vehicle that it sees in whatever lane will grab that speed, even if it's for a second or two, and then jump to the next one that's kind of in that field of view. That I can definitely take that back to Radarsign, and we can see if there's an actual kind of quantitative total of, this is how many lanes it's effective for at this speed, etc. That's a good question.
How much does cloud access cost per year?
$1 million. So basically the access to the cloud, I believe it's about $500 per year. Sorry, $400 per year. And, depending on how many years they get it for, we can work out some kind of package.
What are the range of pricing costs? So maybe he means for the different models.
Yeah. So if you're just buying one unit, they start at about $3,600 and they go up to about $6,000 depending on what you're getting. And again, Radarsign is very aggressive in their pricing for multiple units. So there's discounts starting at 2. I could feel bad. I'm answering all the questions.
Brian, can you explain what the 85 percentile means? I think that was
Sure.
for Multilane.
Yeah, so they will be, you'll see graphs and reports where people, or just in general, people talk about what the 85th percentile is. And what that is if you were to kind of have a graph of, say, 100 people and you recorded their speeds from the slowest to the fastest. If you looked at the 85th driver, what that speed was, that is what the 85th percentile is. So it's not necessarily what is, and so they also do graphs for 50%, and some people would assume that municipalities and cities look at what is the average speed of half the drivers, but actually what they look at is the 85th percentile.
Do municipalities qualify for the trial?
No.
It's not who we're targeting. We're trying to get charitable, nonprofit, safety committees, organizations who don't typically have any budget for trials. But if you are thinking about getting a unit and you need more information, or we're thinking about doing a trial, you can always contact us and we can see what we can do.
Yes, that's correct. And there's cases where we do have demo units of these products that we can come out and set them up. Now, obviously, COVID has affected that, but we definitely will work with you where we can leave the unit with you for a period of a couple of weeks and let you play with it and show your different counterparts and counselors the effectiveness of the unit.
Does each unit need a cell address, or do they combine for one?
So if we're talking about the cloud, which I'm assuming we're talking about, each unit will have its own cellular modem, and also GPS location. GPS unit built in.
Are the signs available in bilingual format, French and English?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
I'll let you answer that, Mike.
Yeah, well, I've been trying, but you're quicker than I am.
All right, I'll let you go.
Okay, well, yeah, the signs are all they're available bilingual. That includes the faceplate and also the message on the TC600 can be bilingual or unilingual.
Who would we get in touch with for setting up cloud access? Maybe on an existing device? That's what they're asking, I think. If they already have a device, how do they get the cloud?
So if they have a device, there is an external modem kit that can be mounted onto, say, this TC600, where that would just be then put onto the unit, and then they can access the cloud.
Does the CSV file contain individual speed values?
Absolutely. Yeah, so basically we'll tick for each kind of sorry, I lost my train of thought, each vehicle, and also I believe it'll timestamp it and show what the speed was. So then you could basically bin it in, say, the easiest is 5 kilometer-hour bins.
Is the solar setup, panel size, battery capacity customized to the location based on predominant lighting conditions?
Mike, I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah. Sorry, Brian, can you answer it? I didn't get the question.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so absolutely. What we use here in Canada mainly is a 75-watt solar panel for the TC600. In comparison, if you were in the States where Radarsign is built, which is Atlanta, Georgia, that might be a 50. But we have these units installed in the farthest reaches of Newfoundland. So we definitely solar size the panels for the area that we're putting it in.
Is there a warranty period for solar panel and digital sign?
Sorry, yes. Sorry, is there any warranty? Is that what you're asking, Sam?
Yeah.
Yep. So the units come standard with a 2-year warranty, and there's an option to purchase extra years right when you're buying it.
That looks like the last question.
There's Sam, one question I think we passed. The customer was asking if the software, if we could connect other companies' equipment to the web application. I don't think we can, Brian. I think it's only for Radarsign speed signs.
Actually, so I did see some literature in there where you can, and I'll have to do a little bit more digging.
Yeah.
The cloud is something that Radarsign has come up with at the beginning of this year, so we're all kind of getting our feet wet with it. But I do believe I did read something where you could also link up, say, school zone beacons and that kind of stuff to the cloud. So whoever asked that question, what we can do is reach back out to them with that information. I don't just want to say no. I believe actually that's something that they can do. All right, well, if that is it.
Charlie from Radarsign says it depends on the device and how open it is.
Okay. So is that it, Sam? Do we have any more questions?
It doesn't look like it, but if any come in at the end, we'll just contact you after the webinar to answer your question.
All right. Well, then I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. And again, our information is right here on the screen. My name is Brian Barg. I'm Brian at Stinson ITS, sorry, Stinson.ca. and
my name is Mike. Oh, sorry, Brian, go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Yeah, and my name is Mike Mondor, and my email address is m.mondor@stinson.ca.
All right, well, we'll give you back the rest of your day. Thank you again very much for joining us, and we hope to see you next month.
Thank you.